Alright guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to take another look at attributes, geometry attributes, and we're going to take a look at how we can add UV coordinates to our geometry. Okay, so let's jump straight in, and the first thing we're going to do, we're going to focus on this fence post here. And if you just notice, I've just spent a few seconds just tidying up my network view so it makes sense and I can trace these inputs. So we've got our basic curve input, and we've also got our terrain input. I've just moved them up to the top, well out of the way, so I can sort of identify what's going on. So let's jump back to our fence post and then press space F to frame up on it. So this is where, this is kind of where we started, isn't it? This is sort of the basic geometry that we've got. We need to process this a little bit more to just make it game ready. We need to give it some UV coordinates. It'd be nice to have some vertex color in there as well, so we could just do a few more geometry operations on this just to sort of bring it game ready. And obviously we've got some n-gons as well here that are going to need to be tidied up, so it allows us to do a little bit more geometry editing in Houdini and also take a look at how we can apply UV coordinates. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to select this normal node at the end. I'm going to turn on edged faces with Shift W, and the first thing I want to do is just fix this n-gon right across here. So I'm just going to jump to the polygon tab, activate polygon split tool, and then just make some cuts, okay, like that. And then to reactivate the tool again, I can press Q and make that cut across there just to make sure we've got polygons, and then press enter to finish the tool. Next, I just want to drop some edge loops just to create some extra vertices for the vertex color. So I can do that with the edge loop tool, and we'll maybe just add a couple, say one there, press Q to activate the tool again, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe that should be enough. So we're still super low poly, we're only at 56 polygons. Okay, so with that additional geometry, it'll give us a bit more fidelity in our vertex color, because we're dealing with super low polygon objects here. We need a bit more resolution to capture that vertex color information. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is look at UV coordinates. So I'm going to package all this up into another subnetwork, because this is our modeling section. So I'm going to put that into a subnetwork and just call it modeling. And the next bit we're going to worry about is our UV coordinates. Okay, so we can just drop down a basic UV unwrap, put the display flag on there, space 5 to go to our UV view, space F to frame up, and it's given us, you know, it's given us some basic UV coordinates. What we can do is we can tidy those up a little bit more. So if we put down a UV edit node, okay, and then with tweak mode active, this little button here, we can start stitching things together. So these three edges here, we could stitch those together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the edges, and you can see the corresponding edges light up, and then anywhere out in the canvas I'm going to right click and then toggle sew. Okay, so we could do the same for this, and then maybe something like this. Okay, and you know, you might want to go in and just sort of fix these little things. Obviously the UV tools are, you know, you'll recognize them from any other package. Just do, you know, use your usual workflows for UVs. There's no real difference. So let's just start. So we've got a single continuous island there. The next thing we want to do is we want to pack this into the UV space, so we can use that UV layout node, which will do exactly that for us. It'll pack it in there nice and tight. And then in the UV layout, we can just add a little bit of island padding, so say 10 or 12 pixels, and then apply that padding to the border. So we've got a little bit of bleed there just in case. Okay, so that's our UVs done for the fence. So if you were using a tiled material, obviously you could set that you could set your texel density using texel. Labs texel density node, plug that in, and then set your asset resolution to whatever it is. So we're dealing in meters here, so you could have 512 per meter, and then scale UVs to match your texel density. And if you stick to this across your entire asset, your texel density will be locked regardless of what changes you made, which is super cool. But just for this example, I'm just going to leave it off, so something like that, just so we can capture the full UV space for that. Okay, so there are our UVs done. So what we can do is we can put down a UV quick shade, and then space 1 to go back to our right. I don't know why it's not showing our, just bear with me. Not sure why it's not showing UV attribute. Yeah, UV. There we go. UV. Don't know why it's not showing up. But anyway, there we can see, we've got some nicely laid out UV coordinates. You could obviously spend more time tweaking those. Finally, we'll drop down a divide node just to make sure everything is triangulated neatly. And again, Unreal Engine will do this for us, but we've got a little bit more control in Houdini here. So we want to set it to be a maximum edges of 3, so it's going to triangulate everything. And what I'm going to do, I think this scene view is bugged, so I'm just going to close my scene view and open it up again. See if that works. Viewers, scene view. There we go. So you can see we've triangulated the mesh there. Let me just try that UV quick shade again. There we go. Yeah, so I thought the viewport was acting a bit strange. You can always do that if you're getting some weird glitches and you're not sure. Just close the scene view and reopen it again. So you can see we've got some UV coordinates there ready for baking or ready for whatever your texture workflow is going to be for this asset. For procedural assets, tiling textures work really well, and you can procedurally offset the UV coordinates to create variety right across. So yeah, that's definitely a way you can go, but for this we're going to keep it simple. The next thing we want to do is we want to create some we want to pack the red color channel of the vertex color. We want to pack that so we can use that as a mask, and we'll do that in the next video because this one's dragged on a bit. So thank you very much, and I'll see you then.